Broken meter. State standards HS1.T.CR2.B. Examine and justify original ideas and artistic choices in a theatrical work based on critical analysis, background knowledge, and/or historical and cultural context. Cross-curricular state standard ELA-literacy.RL.9 through 10.5. Analyze how an author's choices concerning how to structure a text create effects within it. Last lesson, we talked about what to do if you don't have enough syllables. You look for an extension to make sure that you are getting 10 syllables in a line. If there are no syllables that you can pronounce to create more than 9, then what you have found is a line of prose, and that's a different animal altogether. If you have too many syllables, then the odds are good that you can create an elision, either by dropping V sounds, middle ER sounds, by contracting small words, or by altering your pronunciation to suit what Shakespeare's English would have sounded like. If you can't do a British accent, you can do a real strong Southern accent, and you're probably going to get a lot closer to the way Shakespeare's actors would have sounded saying each of these lines. However, there are instances where you're going to find that you've got a line that has too many syllables, usually 11, and there's no way to create an elision without forcing you to mess up your pronunciation of a word or words later in the line. Remember, you cannot create an elision if it's going to put a word under the emphasis pattern in such a way that you have to mispronounce it. You also can't make any names be mispronounced. If you've got a line that has too many syllables and you are not able to create an elision, you have found a feminine ending. Feminine endings are lines with more syllables than the meter is supposed to have. Feminine endings occur in all metric styles, in all kinds of poetry. Sometimes authors are doing this because it's a mistake, but with Shakespeare, we know that these are not mistakes, and we know these are not mistakes because the feminine endings only ever show up when a line contains a very important thought. As an actor, finding a feminine ending is finding highlighter marks from Shakespeare himself. Feminine endings are Shakespeare directing you and saying, hey, this line right here, this is really important. You need to say it slow. You need to say it loud. You need to make sure the audience hears this because this information is vital to what's going on in the text. Before I can determine if a line has a feminine ending, I first have to try to correct it. So here's a line that has 11 syllables. The devil may cite scripture for his purpose. The first thing I'm going to do when I'm scanning any line is divide it into pairs, into iambs. The devil may cite scripture for his purpose. P-O-S-E, pus. It's my last syllable. I've got 11. I need 10. So there are a couple of places that I could attempt to create an elision. One way that I could do that is contracting the onto the front of devil. However, if I do that, if I make it vil, that it's hard to say, first of all, the devil, it makes me mispronounce my very first iamb because it's forcing the emphasis, the stress onto that second syllable. Instead of the de, it becomes the devil, and this is not Cruella de Vil, this is the devil with the emphasis on the first syllable. So automatically I have to rule that out because it forces me to mispronounce something. I could maybe drop the V sound in the middle of the word devil, but then it would sound like this. The del, that's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, maybe it's an old-fashioned way to say the word devil. Let's keep going and see if everything is still pronounced correctly. The del may cite scripture for his purpose. Well, I've forced myself to mispronounce both scripture and purpose. Scripture is a 2-syllable word with the emphasis on script. Purpose is a 2-syllable word, emphasis on per. So no matter what I do at the beginning of the line, I can't do anything that's going to force me to mispronounce those two words. And if I were to create an elision on devil, it's going to push everything up and force me to mispronounce lines in pattern. Therefore, there is no place to make an elision on this line, and it contains a feminine ending. Take a look at the 3 lines that are on the screen right now. 2 of them are perfect iambic pentameter. They have 10 syllables. They follow the soft, loud pattern all the way across. One of them is a feminine ending. It has too many syllables, and there's no way to create the elision. Take a moment and see if you can figure out which one is the feminine ending. The answer is number 2. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer. Let's check it together just to make sure. Whether 'tis no blur in the mind to suffer. I've got 11 syllables. Is there any place that I can make an elision? Well, maybe on the mind, but if I did it there, then I would be forced to mispronounce suffer, and it would become suffer. Suffer, with the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Therefore, I can't create an elision, and this has a feminine ending. There's something else wrong with this line. How do you pronounce the word whether? As in whether or not. Whether. Which syllable is the strong syllable in whether? Whether. But according to the iambic pentameter here, the scansion, if this were perfect iambic pentameter, would have me pronounce it whether. Whether. That's wrong. And remember, at no point, never in 37 plays and 154 sonnets, never will Shakespeare expect an actor to mispronounce a word in iambic pentameter. He might occasionally ask a prose character who's being a buffoon to say things in a dumb way, and that's really a matter of just knowing what the joke is. There's nothing in the text that tells you that. But with the iambic pentameter, if you run into a situation like this, where the scansion, if it were perfect, would have you mispronounce a word, something else is going on.